It's a very quick story, but you likely saw the news a couple of days ago that a Ukrainian airline taking off from Iran, inside the country of Iran, taking off from the airport, ended up crashing and killing everyone on board. I think it was 173 people on board. Obviously, horrible, horrible thing. And you just, you people just can't stand any of these kind of things. You hate to think of the loss of innocent life and all of that. There were people of all sorts of backgrounds and countries on that plane, but it was a flight taking off in Iran, and the flight that was that crashed was it was Ukrainian and was headed for the city of Kiev. But I want to make a couple quick points about it. Number one, video from the ground seems to show that the plane was shot down. Iran first put out a statement about something like technical difficulties. Plane was already turning around. Maybe there's a fire on board. We don't know. But video seems to show, and now American authorities are saying they believe the plane was shot down. And so, this is, I'm making a really important point about Iran as I wrap up this show today, but I want to make something clear about this. There is no argument that American forces or any other country's forces actually attacked a passenger airline, a commercial airline flight, and shot it down. No one is saying that. Iran was trying to say, no, it was probably, we had technical difficulties. What appears to have happened is that the Iranians, and their lust for firing off rockets in order to, defend themselves or make a statement about how they were so outraged by America's killing of General Soleimani, which was a great move. But the Iranians were firing rockets at U.S. bases, U.S. military places where U.S. military was, kind of randomly. They had this, crazy thing. They launched off 15 rockets. A quarter of them didn't even work. They were just duds. But the point is, it appears that one of the Iranian rockets that they were trying to shoot at just to show the world how tough they are, to show they're going to defend themselves, may have actually been responsible for taking down this Ukrainian airline. Don't know that yet. The Iranian forces probably never admit that. I will tell you that I did look up to find out about who in the world is banning flights over Iran and Iraq. The FAA, our American FAA, has banned commercial flights over Iran and Iraq once this missile barrage started. So have other countries have done the same thing. Poland's national carrier saying no more flights over Iran. Paris-based Air France, Dutch carrier KLM have all said no way they're flying over Iran or Iraq, while Iran is firing off all of these rockets randomly, and obviously not with not a lot of great control over them. They weren't even working, and none of them hit a target. And I want to close out by saying this. The reason I bring this up, I am terribly sorry for the loss of any human life, including people on that plane. It appears that this was a rocket hit by the Iranians' own rockets. So, okay, that may have happened. I'm sorry if it did. But when America is deciding whether and how to defend ourselves and what we should do, given the anger of the mullahs in Iran, understand the Iranian military, while we must fight against them, we must defend ourselves, we have to recognize that Iran and Iraq and other Middle Eastern countries puff up in their stories to the world, their depiction to the world. They puff up their power, how strong they are, how their military is just going to take out everybody, that they could do anything they want, that America better be afraid. Do not buy into this. I don't want war with Iran. I don't want war at all. I would love if we didn't have to have war, but we need to have a strong American military presence in this world to keep the loony regimes in this world, like Iran, in check. In fact, a little factoid, Iran's budget for its military is something like 2% of their whole budget. They don't have a lot of money. They're being hurt by our sanctions. They don't have a lot of money to be building their military. We need to not take into account and accept at face value the Iranian proclamations of how tough they are, how strong they are, how America better watch it because they're going to just destroy us overnight if they wanted to. The Iranians can't control their rockets. They can't aim. They can't hit American forces, not that I want them to, but they can't they likely took down this jet, this passenger commercial airline jet, because they are just that. I don't know if they're the right expression. I don't want to get, Laurel and Hardy kind of military. They are evil. The mullah, the Iranian regime is evil. The commitment they have to jihad in their constitution, their mission to spread Islam by force is dangerous and evil. But let us not get too carried away and buying into every one of their threats and their characterizations of themselves as so tough, so capable. There's a little bit of an exaggeration to believe they actually have the kind of military power they keep trying to claim they do. And I think America needs to continue to have a strong presence. As one last point I'll hit before I go to why all this matters to you. But when I asked the closing question yesterday, when I had Claire Lopez on the show, is I asked her about, well, what about the argument that leftists say, and certainly that the Islamic extremists say, which is, just get America out of the Middle East. If you just leave the Middle East and leave us alone, then everything will be fine. So I asked her, well, what is the reason? Why don't we Americans just pull everything out, pull all our forces, pull everything out of the Middle East, let the crazies over there, let the Shia and the Sunni and the Wahhabis, all attack each other. I mean, and why don't we just get out of there and maybe we'll stop aggravating them? Number one, she had a great answer. I'll tell you as number two. But number one, I want to mention is the Middle East is filled with people who truly believe in the jihadist mission of Islam. They actually, truly, deeply believe in it. They intend to be a jihadist country, and the Middle East is filled with countries like that. It is just a fantasy to think that the only reason that all these jihadist attacks happen around the world, and all these terrorist attacks happen, is simply because American forces are over there in some countries. The attacks happen because jihadists, under the teachings of Islam, are driven to try to conquer the surrounding nations, the surrounding peoples. They're driven, as the Iranian constitution recites, driven to try to force Islam into domination over the world. The world is safer if American forces stay over there close enough for them to understand, don't even think about it. Don't even think about your next attack. That's number one. Number two, and the point that Claire Lopez made so well yesterday, was the idea that, we do have actually vested interests in that part of the world. We are among our major allies in the entire world is the country of Israel, who is surrounded by Islamic majority countries that would happily destroy them, kill them all, except they recognize they would then be taking on America. America is in the Middle East in part to defend the Israelis and the Jewish state. But number two is there are also all sorts of shipping lanes, the international commerce, the use of shipping in the ocean, the Strait of Hormuz, other straits that allow commerce to happen in the world. Do not think for a minute, if America came home, it brought all our troops home, that the Middle East would somehow participate like a modern country and permit commercial shipping, permit the exchange of commerce through their seaways. They would not. So the American presence over there is not the cause of Islamic violence. Islamic jihadist mindset is the cause of Islamic violence.